Okay, so welcome to the session. The session is called Behind the Scenes, How to Build a Conference-Winning Technical Session. We'll go through a short introduction. My name is Sami Laiho. I'm from Finland. Normally I would list what I do and what my company is and blah, blah, blah. And this time I think the only reason why I have to do this is just to kind of like set some sort of a ground that it took me 6 years to get to do this session at any conference in US. I tried it for a long, long time, but it took a lot of convincing. So I have never ever been into tech ed before 2013. So I guess it took a while, and now I hope they kind of like, I got the credits to show that I can actually do it. So I did my first ever tech ed in 2013. That was Australia. I went to tech ed Australia only after sending an email to Mark Rusinovich, David Snower, and Don Jones. Maybe, I'm not sure if I sent it to Jeremy as well. But like a few friends that I know, I sent an email and asked, are you going to take it Australia? And they all said, no, it's too freaking long a flight. We won't take it. It's like, then I'm going. Because like you couldn't beat those guys. It's impossible. They would win every freaking conference there was. I'm self-employed, which means I have my own company, which means I have to come up with a lot of marketing to kind of warrant for being here. Some days they used to pay speakers for speaker fees. So every speaker that attended got a speaker fee. They stopped that a few years ago, and now it's all about marketing. It's not expensive for me to buy a ticket to go somewhere, so Microsoft pays it now for me. So that's kind of fun. But for a self-employed man, that means I skip 1 week of invoicing, okay? No one does anything in my company, so it's freaking expensive. So I have to do a lot of marketing. So you can see even on this list, there are a lot of ways on how to get higher and higher into different conferences, because you can see a few here. First of all, best external speaker at Ignite 2017 is because Mark Rusinovich won. But he's internal now, thank God. We got Ignite 2015 best male presenter, because there's Paula Januszkiewicz, okay? She won, but I was the best male presenter, okay? It's not that difficult, but I mean, just thinking about the sheer numbers. Anyway, so that's a lot of it is, of course, marketing also. So it's not just purely about how to build a great session, but also on how to really take benefit of being successful at these things, okay? I show this always now, like some jokes are just keepers. Like Finnish being voice over IP sec that I said earlier, like honestly, just a keeper. It works everywhere because it's such a small language group that no one really knows it. So it's a keeper. This one's another one. I came up with this 2 years ago because they gave me a template from Ignite, and the template said, you have to fill all your certificates on this one line. And then I was looking at it like, what the? Like, just put everything on the floor, and I was like, no, that don't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. And then I figured this out, which I think it's diamond. I put them on a kitchen scale, and I weigh them. So it's 2.6 pounds of certificates. So it fits on every deck and tells the story. Nowadays, I was just in Austria teaching a class, and they came back, like the last day, they came to me and said, you have to sign these certificates. And I went to the students like, these are really good certificates. Because I printed on a really thick paper. They weigh a lot. They're really good certificates. So if you get a PDF certificate, just print it out on the biggest paper you can find, okay? My moment that I have to take, everyone asks me this constantly about how did I end up here, what did I do? My first ever conference I went to was 82. That's the first Comdex I ever went to, and I was 3 years old. My dad used to be in IT as well. Now he sadly passed away just a few months ago. So I just promised him one day that I would like kind of put him on stage for the big events that I ever do, and now I really didn't get to do it. But now there was a kind of ties into this that everyone asks what to do. Well, there's a lot of stuff that came from him. He owned a company that was working with a US company called IPC, Integrated Business Computers, that was bringing computers into Finland. And so it's kind of, yes, I've done it for my whole life. I've only gone through high school. I've never had any education in IT. I've never ever had any education in IT. But he made sure that I did every freaking certificate there is, okay? Outside of like public schools in Finland, which are, by the way, very good. Anyway, so that's a lot of it. The other thing is Twitter. There's nothing else but Twitter now. You can see Windows 10 new editions, they deprecate the whole RSS feed functionality. Doesn't even work, because no one uses anything but Twitter to get this information through. I don't use anything else. I read blogs, but I read them because they're based on someone showing me on Twitter to read it. I don't follow a single blog, not even Microsoft's blogs. So that's the only thing that currently keeps me up to date. I got a blog. If you want to reach me, send me an email. That's it. Before you can start talking about how to build a conference-winning session, you have to talk about how to actually get in. Okay? That's not even easy. As I said, I tried it for about 7 years. 7 years it took me. Every year I sent out proposals and I couldn't get in. Mark Minasi, if many of you probably know the guy, Mark said to me once, I found him slightly intoxicated in a hotel lobby, and I took advantage of that situation. So I went there and spoke to Mark and said, Mark, this is the stuff I do. I think it's great, but I just can't get into any conference. And he looked at my sessions, and he looked at my session was what I was trying to propose was troubleshooting Windows 7. And he was like, no, you can't do it. You have to have either Ninja, Kung Fu, Hack, Crack, or Black Con, or something like that. You have to have that in your session title, and then you can get in. So I sent the same proposal next year for Black Belt troubleshooting Windows 8 and got in instantly. So that's all about it. Do networking. Even I'm scouting here. That's my opportunity. This might pay me my money back. I do two conferences in the US now. I'm responsible for the content of Tech Mentor Redmond and Tech Mentor Orlando. 2 conferences with Dave Kavula from Canada. And honestly, if you think about doing this business, if you want to get to speak, I would happily let you be there, because for the first time ever I got in was Tech Mentor 2012 in a US conference. Greg Shields was doing the, he's the conference chair at that time with Don Jones. And they were picking sessions, and then they saw my session and they said, it's really good, but I live in Finland, so it's going to be so freaking expensive to fly me over that they're going to just say, yes, but you have to pay your own flights, and I will deny. Or decline, okay? So I got the email back and I was instant, no, I'll pay it. I'm there. And then he had called Don Jones instantly, like, oh no, now we have to let him in. Because we kind of said that if he wants to get in, but he has to pay it by himself, then he has to get in, okay? So I'm more than willing to take new speakers in, because I was a new speaker just a while ago. So it's not that easy. Always try to have a topic that adds value to the paying customer, which in this case would be Microsoft. If you want to do a session called Group Policy Lives Forever, or you want to do a session called Direct Access is the Future of Remote Networking, or if you want to do a session that the future authentication method is going to be virtual smart cards, you're out, okay? So you have to still think about what they want to hear. You can't go here and say, I would like to do a session that tells people how much easier it is to use VMware to just kill off Hyper-V hosts. So you can be really good at stuff. I've had a person here, which I might, maybe after this session you will believe me even more than before, but I've had a person here telling me that, Sami, if you wouldn't win these freaking best speaker awards every freaking year, we wouldn't let you be more than a mile away from OCCCC. So yes, you can get a little bit of slack at some point, but if you want to get into a conference, then you do have to please the one who's paying your bills, okay? When you get into a conference, make sure you get a video. That is what I learned. And what I tell everyone, if you want to be a speaker anywhere, I have the friend of mine I met 2 days ago, I think, at the crew party, and he was speaking for the first time in his life in Tech Mentor just a few months ago, and that's because he asked someone in the audience to just use a mobile phone to video the session, because if I see a video, I can instantly know if I would like to have you as a speaker or not. But if you send me that I've written blog posts and I've written this and this books and blah, 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 it has nothing to do with doing an entertaining presentation, okay? So I need a video. Now, the disclaimer for the whole session, don't be offended. Finnish people are really blunt, honest, and have to remember what the title says. The title says how to build a conference winning session. This is not a session just to set the expectations. This is not a session that would be how to build a great presentation, because that would be tips and tricks on how to use PowerPoint accordingly and how to do things like that. No, that's a totally different thing. There's a lot of great presentations in this conference, I hope. So honestly, when I started doing, as I said, I've tried to post this like so many times. I want to do this. I want to tell you how it works. But on the other hand, I feel horrible. Because it's kind of like saying that half of this stuff is like not technical at all. Half of this stuff has nothing to do with the topic that you believe you're listening to. So it feels a little bit bad as well. Like morally, I get away with this because I do 1 day of this, and then I teach 4-day courses that actually are the ones where I teach my students on how to really troubleshoot Windows or secure Windows. It's a totally different thing. You don't teach things in 1 hour compared to a 4-day. So morally, I'm fine, okay? But I still have to say this because I do feel a little bit bad. And some people will have to be this forever after I've done this. Whenever you see my session, there are things where you'll be like, huh, that's not true. He's saying that, but that didn't happen. Like, I'm not saying I'm bullshitting you, which will very, very, very nice on the closed captioning. We will just give it a minute. I want to see this because this was so funny last year for the first time. Okay. Just didn't know if they used the same engine as last year. So talk to your audience. There's a guy sitting here, Jeremy Moskovich, who told me this, and Mark Minasi. He said Mark told him, and yes, that's what I try to do. Before every session I go to, I try to talk to people. Hopefully not only in Finnish. I mean, honestly, just talk to your audience. The more friendly you are with your audience, honestly, the more they like you. It's kind of simple at the end of the day anyway. Only one thing I can't really that easily kind of make up is enthusiasm. If you're not interested in what you're talking, it's really hard to hide it. I'm quite sure every one of you knows that I actually like being here. Not that someone forced me to be up here. I think you kind of know that I actually like this stuff. I did a few times what I would do is like a few years ago, I would walk out the room 5 minutes before we started, and I would go there like, I love PowerShell. I actually like PowerShell. I think it's actually really cool. And then I would go on stage like, PowerShell rocks. It's like so cool. So I wasn't really, I'm an old freaking command prompt fart. So I know, but it's still, even though I've done this professionally since I was 21, I still, after 17 years, the only thing it's really hard for me to fool is, am I really into what I'm saying? Think about next year. Sami Laiho, 50 life hacks of Skype for Business. That must be a lot of fun. Be bold but not offending. This is the stuff that I really love, honestly. This is the most fun on the whole session, is actually going through this, because I know so many of you have heard about this, but this was so freaking fun. I did this for TechEd Australia 2013, and I started by printing out new business cards. Because I'm self-employed, I can pick up my own titles. Which means Mark Rusinovich was only a technical fellow at Microsoft. So I just printed out business cards with senior technical fellow. And everyone is like, oh my God, there's this guy from Finland. He's really young and he's already a senior technical fellow. Mark Rusinovich is only a technical fellow. I didn't have to share the whole story. So, related to that, what I do a lot, tricks. One of the tricks I do all the time is, I sent this deck in 2 weeks ago, but yesterday during my session, which I probably even didn't have, is someone asked me a question. That's what I do when I don't have a really good way of putting something into my decks. But I need them to be there because they're just so funny. So one, of course, what I feel a little bit ashamed about is if I start doing a deck for Ignite or TechEd or whatever, I first choose the jokes. Every single time. I'll do a Word document usually. I'll fill in the jokes I have to get in, and then I'm going to try to do segues that make it somehow come up like a story. Okay? I will do that first, because it's harder to figure out jokes than it is to get technical content that someone else actually kind of tells you what it is. You have documentation, you have books, you have videos, whatever. So that's more of the entertaining side. So I do that every single time, like I did now, believe it or not. So for example, this one. Someone asked after the session, how can you be a senior technical fellow? Because if you look at Microsoft's internal, I have never seen those, but if you look at Microsoft's internal phone books, there's only one senior technical fellow, and that's Dave Cutler, the guy who wrote the kernel for NT. Okay? So how can you become a senior technical fellow without, what do you need to do to be that and not just a technical fellow? So I showed them that you have to have worked with the operating system so long that you have your own keyboard layout. And even today, trust me, there's no English with Mark. So, and for the fun of it, many people are like, wow, that is cool. He's got his own keyboard layout. I have my own people as well. I also have my own museum, because Sami people are a part of Finnish and let's say Scandinavian people that live up north. Okay? It just happens to be my first name, so why not use it? The big difference between top 100 and top 10, one of the biggest difference is top 100 you can get in if you're technically very good. No Windows, no servers, no Skype for Business, no Outlook, no anything, and you can get to top 100. That's not a problem. You can do that anytime if you just know what you're talking about. There's about 1,000 sessions, so about 10% you can get that. That's not a problem. That's only text. But if you think about what happens when going from top 100 to top 10, then it changes the whole game, okay? Then it's a show, then it has nothing to do with just the technical content, okay? You don't build it up as a technical presentation of what you should know. You build it up as a show that should be entertaining enough so that people stay awake, they like it, they think this was one of the not boring sessions at Ignite. And it's a totally different ball game, all right? This is a great example, which I'm not that always that happy to share. Think about this. This is an actual deck from TechEd Australia that I won as the best speaker, and I had the best session of the whole conference, okay? There's what's the total? There's 50 slides, and on 41st slide, it mentions Windows 8, when the title was How to Troubleshoot Windows 8. And I'm still the best speaker with the best session. And it takes me 40 slides to even mention the topic that you thought you were listening to. So sometimes it's like, even for me, it's funny. I'm like, at some point, I'm like, this is going to be such a great deck. And they're like, oh shit, what was I talking about? Story of järjestelmänvalvoja. Okay? It's the Finnish word for administrator. To log on to your operating systems, I have stickers for your laptops, järjestelmänvalvoja. Everyone else has like administrator. Spanish have administrador, which I think is the sexiest one. But Swedish have administrateur. So very close. Finnish have järjestelmänvalvoja. It's very, very close, okay? I even have like, I have these magnets for your fridges, and now I have also sunglasses with the word järjestelmänvalvoja, which can't fit on one arm. But there, so you can do 2 different authentication, normal admin, normal admin, normal admin. So this all started with like something like this. So when you get administrator, we get this. And of course, anyone who has no idea how Finnish works, they have absolutely no idea what it means. Good thing being we don't need any passwords. I was going to get into the system anyway. But anyway, how did we end up with this? That's the funny thing. It's, you can see I got like freaking cardboard boxes of swag relating to this word. But how did it end up being like this? Well, I had a joke, just for TechEd. I think New Orleans, 2013, I believe. That was as well 2013. So I had one joke, and the joke was, do you know what a Gollum hangover is? And a Gollum hangover is when you wake up grey and naked behind a rock and you lost the ring. Okay? So I only had that one. I had this Gollum joke and an empty TechEd PowerPoint deck. Then, well, you have to go back from this. So, Gollum is from the Lord of the Rings, okay? Lord of the Rings, the author, J.R.R. Tolkien, wrote the language of the elves based on the Finnish language. He was a linguist that went out the world and tried to find a language that like no one would understand and found Finnish. Even yesterday I was walking on the corridor and there are a few guys behind me. They turn around and I can hear them whisper, he speaks Elvish. So, from there I was like, okay, so he used really Finnish. And then I had like an Open Server 2003 in front of me that had a local language back, and I was trying to log on and I couldn't. Because I would never think someone would be so stupid in Finland to use the local language back on a server. Like, just don't do it. So I couldn't log on. And then it's like, well, yeah, it's actually järjestelmänvalvoja. And that's another segue. So it took like so many segues to get to this one Gollum joke. And now it's kind of a trademark. I think it's just a weird story. So then it ended up in like stuff like this, t-shirts, caps, beanies, stickers, whatever. Talking about stories, that means storify everything, okay? So first of all, if you have to explain to people for about troubleshooting, for example, if you want to explain to them that they should be able to talk to you, the first step of doing troubleshooting is get proper descriptions for errors, okay? You could say they should be factful errors that don't just say my computer broke. That's not really, like, doesn't resonate that well. You have to have real stories. Usually you should take them for your own life, okay? Because you don't want to offend anyone. So it's always like, I think if you want to look at, if you want to do comedy and you want to do it in a situation like this, you could do something else for like stand-up comedy, but if you want to do it at the place like this, then it's, it has to be making jokes out of yourself, okay? Can't really offend anyone. So these are good ones. So these are actual real ones, okay? So my computer just broke. What did you do? Change. There's two things here. One, I have absolutely no idea what happened, and the second is an assumption that IT breaks things, okay? Like, what did you do? Like, why do I always break your computer? I did nothing with it. And then we have the other people who actually listen to what you say, but maybe what you said was not in a meaningful way for a normal person, because this is what I got on my desktop in 1999 or something. Guy wrote the whole blue screen on a piece of paper. It's like, come on! That is so nice. I was in Australia and I showed this and I just was like, I don't know what to call it. And someone in the audience we call it dedication. It has a typo in it, but I didn't dare to tell him. So, would have been a little bit unfair. Stories are good as they are, but they have to become exceptional, they have to be changed to war stories. So there's a story of being bitten by a snake. In this case, it looks like it. Well, the real story was Australia. And I was actually in Australia, the first ticket that I ever won. And I was in a horrible fever. Okay? So that's like 40 degrees Celsius fever, which is like 672 Fahrenheit. And I was I was horrible. I haven't been that sick in a long, long time. And then I have to do my most, it wasn't that important unless I knew that Mark Rusinovich and guys won't be there, because it is really my first break to win a conference. And then I'm totally sick. So I lost my voice. The morning when the session was, luckily in Finland we have more heavy metal bands per capita than any country in the world. So I know a lot of singers. So I used this. It's called kyypakkaus. Doesn't tell many of you anything, but it's anti-venom for viper bites, okay? Now the difference, of course, being that our vipers in Finland are comparable to bees. So a super small snake bites you, and it's the same as a bee sting you, okay? Think about it in Australia. In the morning, you're like, I wouldn't be able to do this session unless I took anti-venom for viper bites. And they have like the 10 most dangerous vipers in the world, and they're all thinking I'm walking with an IV or something like. It's like, story wasn't that bad, it's just this. You can get it over the counter from a pharmacy. So actually took a few of them this morning. So not that dangerous, okay? Add tips to get aha effects. I'm sorry. You can come to Ignite, you can hear the most great new things, new tips and tricks you've ever wanted. But if someone tells you that in Server 2019, you're going to have a button. If you press it, it will create a storage spaces direct system with one click. It's like, wow. But of course, I didn't know it because it's new. So that has not the effect when you can learn people something that they should have known for the past 2 decades, okay? It's like the same I have all the time with my students. They'll tell me, like, I'm like, well, you should have done this. Well, it's not possible to do this, and then there's like the dreaded student hand. Yes, why didn't you click here? You're like, you're paying me, so I have to thank you, and we'll take a coffee break while I hit my head in the counter. But you still want to like kill the guy or girl, like, okay? Don't know how well this resonates here, but these are things like, for example, having favorites in Regedit. Like, I don't know, can anyone now really tell me that, or can anyone be honest and say you had no idea there's favorites in Regedit? Thank you, okay? So, it's like, it's not the effect is so different, because like, well, I had a student telling me, yes, why didn't you put it as a favorite? I was like, oh yeah, that's new, yeah, that's new. Yeah, it was put in XP in 2001. So the effect is different, okay? Honestly, it is different. Personal stuff. Teach people how their computers work better. Teach them how to watch free Netflix. Which, by the way, I have absolutely no idea how to do, because you're all going to buck me in the bar tonight if I say so. So anyway, just like, people are here. Their companies paid them to come here. Yes. You want to get personal benefit of, you want to get something to take back to work and tell to your boss, now I can do this. That's of course, that's required for the money spent. But if you want to have a person remembering you afterwards, that's personal level. And that means if you tell them how to do this thing at home, it's a lot more effective than saying you can go to your company and you can save money off the company's endless pockets by doing this. Okay? So just try to come up with something personal to take home, all right? Demos that people remember. Sometimes doing demos takes a lot of effort. I remember running out of my godson's 20th birthday party. That was just before Ignite 2016. And I was running out because there was this, my second cousin was there. And he was like, Sami, have you heard about the, how do you know if a Finnish guy is introvert or extrovert? It's like, no, I haven't. Well, it's if they're looking at their shoes, they're introvert. If they're looking at your shoes, they're extrovert. I was like, I gotta go now. And I had to run to the car to get my phone to type it in. Ignite 2016 OneDrive folder, because I don't use Dropbox or anything like that. So, and I had to do it, okay? Just had to do it. But sometimes it takes a lot of effort to build this demo. So the demo, what I'm going to show now, first the demo gods, of course, because we have to please them. So I started doing this some time ago. We're going to switch off to the other machine, which we have here. Let's wait for you. There's Hyper-V. So you always sacrifice a virtual machine for the demo gods. Okay? You have to do it because it's otherwise the demos fail. So what I'm trying to tell you is stereotypes and things like this work very well because we all know this happens. Plus it takes a little bit burden from myself of kind of like being able to fail maybe a little bit more. This all started with this. I was scared a lot. I was in Ignite 2015. And I had this speaker briefing, and the speaker briefing talks about speaker code of conduct. Do not offend anyone. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Remember to behave. And the only demo I had was that I wanted to tell people that it's easy to use two different user accounts, being a limited user or standard user, and being an admin. Because you can use two fingerprints for the same fingerprint reader, okay? So I always use my index finger as a limited user and my middle finger as an admin. So there I find myself in front of 1,500 people and my only demo is giving them the finger. So, well, it ended up super funny, okay? So, luckily everyone laughed and I still get to come here. Now, next year, Ignite reviews. The feedback, it says, Sami, we will come back to Atlanta just to see you do the same thing with Windows Hello and facial recognition. That's a dare. Finnish people they're easy to dare, okay? So I started different things. I got it working like this. So if I'm a normal user, admin. Normal user, admin, okay? But it looks really weird. I was in the airport lounge. And no, this gets better. I had a Surface Book. Finally, a sexy machine from Microsoft. I have a Surface Book, okay? And I'm like, what happens is so different. I go to the airport lounge and suddenly Apple people started to talk to me. I have never had that before, you know, like with their MacBooks and iPads and whatever, and they start to come to me like, oh, hello, is that a Surface Book? I'm like, yeah, it is. Oh, is it really more expensive than a Mac? Like, yeah. Oh, I'm so interested. It's so... And now I'm with my computer like this. So I started losing friends. So what I started doing was this. I call it the Homer pose, you know, because then I can be there with my computer like this, and there's a Mac person there. I was like, what are you doing? Windows, you know. So now, when this happens, it gets a little bit more difficult because, believe it or not, someone's watching my sessions all the time. So, what do we have now? Sami, we need you to do two-factor authentication. It's like, come on, like fingerprints, face, or what? No, that's stupid. That's too easy. USB keys, whatever, that's too easy. Think about this, like you have smart cards, okay? They're difficult. Virtual smart cards will be deprecated soon. Not sure if I was supposed to tell that you or not. So let me introduce the future of two-factor authentication. And I've so many times in my life I believed I'm going to be filthy rich when I invent something, okay? Usually I'm still working and it doesn't work out, but this time I'm sure. What you're going to see is the future of two-factor authentication, okay? Because I figured it out. They're hedgehogs. Because believe it or not, hedgehogs have the same fingerprints as humans. So you can fool Windows Hello with a hedgehog. And a koala as well, but it's a little bit difficult to get the koala here. So now we have, his name is Token, of course. He's a live hedgehog. That's the authentication token type, okay? Token lifetime is about 5 to 8 years. Depends a little bit how good care you take of him. But And tamper protection, hell yeah. Think about that. So then I thought like that is, I was thinking about like I spoke to TSA and I said, I need to bring a hedgehog. And then they're like, the only problem is that you have to declare it as a service animal. Okay, I'm gonna declare it as a service animal. I have a therapeutic hedgehog. Okay? So now, before you help out Microsoft, we of course have to do this as a, hopefully a live demo, because we have a hedgehog. I don't know if his tamper protection is how active right now, but he should be fine after I pick him up. Oh, he's a little bit scared of me right now, okay? So he anyway can do the same thing. We tried this many times. So it's almost like a mouse, but you have to... So if you do CMD, and then you have to press Control-Shift-Enter, okay? And then he would have to open up a little bit so that we can do... Oh, now we have... That's token, okay? So now he's not very excited because he's nocturnal, which means it's better for devs than IT admins. But I'm going to let him be because he's very angry at me currently, and he doesn't like it at all. And he's spiky as well because he puts the tamper protection on. And now that there's the big possibility that I will be thrown out of the conference room after this because you are not allowed to bring animals here, so I had to smuggle him in. But anyway, that's you asked for it, two-factor authentication. Come on, that's just even though that's cool, you should still remember to help out Microsoft as well. So I've done a lot of sessions called, for example, building a bulletproof Windows BitLocker because they asked for it. So one time when I wasn't sure if I can get in to a conference, I looked up the white papers that will be published in the next months. Took a white paper of BitLocker, went through it, took all the topics from it, and then sent in the proposal. Like, I would have a session that would talk about BitLocker in this way. And there's some guy calling me, not just emailing like normal. He's calling me on Skype. You answered all my requests on what we need. It's like, yes, it's public. But just remember, sometimes you do have to just please kind of like please your audience, all right? Stereotypes work. There are certain jokes that will always just work out. So I was in TechEd Houston, and I was going into a room, and I was very excited. I hadn't been speaking at TechEd that much, so I was super excited. And the card box is moving. So anyway, so there were two guys from Microsoft, so blue badges. We call them blue badges because they always had a blue badge if they were from Microsoft. And they're going into a room, and they're going into that room, and they talk to each other. And I'm after them. I'm lining up because speakers couldn't take seats if all the seats were taken. Okay? So then I was there waiting outside, and these two guys talk to each other, these two blue badges, and they're like, remember, this is a company event, so you can always only Google with Bing. And it's like, so even us, trust me, I can't do my demos on VMware. I don't Google here, okay? So sometimes this stuff is just like so stereotypical. Every one of us knows what's the difference between Google and Bing. Who knows? Not saying because it's not Google, whatever. Not that joke. The other one. No, there's Bing is used to search for stuff, and Google is used to find stuff. There's a small difference, but failing and recovering if time permits. I do this all the time. I teach troubleshooting, so it's easy for me. I'm failing my computers to blue screen, and it's intentional. I always make it look like it's like, oh my God, that's the worst thing that could happen to a public speaker is a blue screen. It's like, took me hours to get it to blue screen, okay? So I do that all the time. It works very well because you're saving your ass on stage, and You're not supposed to say that either. But anyway, so it's just, I've been doing this, as I said, for almost, like more than half of my life I've been doing this public speaking stuff. I can control myself very well. One thing I can't do, one thing I cannot prevent from happening. If I'm, normally I fail, but I do it intentionally, and hopefully no one knows before this session. But like normally people wouldn't know. Now, if I fail something without it being intentional, the problem is my ears go totally red. Like, there's a heat wave in the first row. Like, and then I have a few Finnish guys there who are always like, because they know it. They know me from my home country, so they're like, ooh, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. But normally I fail things intentionally. Just makes it look cool that you can. It's like Azure demos. You've seen so many times when someone's there like, oh, the whole data center went down. Oh, luckily there's a recovery point and only 1 minute, 30 seconds, it's back. That demo was about to suck. Like, come on. Great content can't be copyrighted. We have a few minutes left. I love this story. I was in many times what happens with these conferences is you have an excellent shot from the internet. I had a comic strip, and the comic strip was saying that it was a BitLocker related thing, and it was saying that should we go to the university and steal the supercomputer and calculate all the possible combinations for the BitLocker key? And then there's another guy there who's like, should we just go out and buy a $5 wrench and just threaten them for their lives to get the pin codes? I had it there, but the problem, I hadn't been to these bigger conferences, is this scrubbing process. So they could go through our slides. And if it's copyrighted material, off. So there I was actually in Atlanta, and my best demo failed. It wasn't even a demo, but the slide was perfect. It told the whole story of how reality is. So what I did was I went to the local Lowe's, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but that hardware store, okay? And I had to buy a 15-inch wrench. And then I hid it under the podium, and then I took 2 volunteers. One who has only a TPM protection, which was what Microsoft wanted to promote. And then we had another guy who had a pin code, okay? Actually, remember wrong. What I did was I gave them my own surface, RT, TPM protection only, like, you hack that. And then I got some guys, asked some guy, like, do you have a pin code? Yes, I do. I was like, okay, very good. We'll start the demo in just a second. I was like, okay, go. And the guy started, honestly, putting like a Windows PE USB key or something into my machine. I took the wrench and just jumped down like 1.5 meters, ran to the guy, I'm gonna freaking kill you unless you give me the pin code. 6275. I can't draw, but I can act, okay? So don't be worried if you miss your topics a little bit. You can always find ways to do it, and acting is a lot more interactive. It's a lot more fun. It's more story-like than just showing a picture, asking people to read it, because that's not what PowerPoint is for. So I do that a lot. Find a perfect comic strip and just act it out. All right? Swag or free stuff? Well, depends. I love this stuff, honestly. Like, for me, it's my company pays something to get those, but if I can get my sticker on your laptop, for example, it's just, for me, it's that small marketing thing that I would do anytime. So I just love it. Some people don't like swag at all. Now you don't have to worry. You can just choose. There's like, we have about 100 maybe of the, what are those? Fridge magnets. Then we have some stickers, and then we have about 250 of the sunglasses. And it's going to be a horrible thing when you start trying to get that from there. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do it, but maybe I missed the small print. So they look like that, okay? As said, they couldn't fit on one arm, so had to put it on 2. Checklist. If you want to make a session that is different from top 100 to top 10, I really love what I'm talking about. Don't start trying to build a good session. Don't start building a conference winning session. I have a lot of different sessions, okay? So don't start building your deck to be a conference winning session unless you like what you're talking about. People will know. You're not that good that you could hide the fact that you don't like what you're talking about, all right? Selling cool title for session, because you have to get in, and people only read the title. 80% of people only read the title. Only 20% read the description. So you have to put the title to be inviting enough for people to come in. Remember, the jokes need to be there. Self-irony as a recommended approach always. Localized and current content. Take your jokes, change them a little bit so that they're good for US, that they're good for Europe. We had a European guy doing a session here in Orlando, and he was doing dark web. And then he goes like, this is the dark internet. If you go here, you could click with a mouse and you can buy a handgun with $700. And the first guy in the first row is like, that's like freaking expensive. Like, because like, come on. I don't know if you buy it from Walmart or whatever, but it's like, it's a bit different. Jokes don't work the same. I need to localize them every time. War storyfied the contents as much as possible. Something personal for attendees to take work and home. Remember, this is the most important rule, and this will be told by everyone who teaches public speakers. You have to please 80% of the audience. That's not more, not less. You don't have to please 20%. There's going to be 20% of you who think that, like, that's so silly. That guy was supposed to know Windows a lot. I do come to my courses, but, like, he's just coming up with stand-up comedy instead of doing a session, okay? You have to please 80% of the people. Proved that you are critical, not marketing. Had some aha moments in it. Reminding about the importance of evals. This room is not that big, which means I need a lot of you. I need actually like almost 50% of all of you people here to fill the evals. Otherwise, I can't get into the competition of winning the best session of Ignite, okay? So you want to do me one favor, fill the evals, all right? If you want to see my free stuff, this is my marketing moment. You can go to my winfu.com dojo and get 30 days of free troubleshooting, security, app locker, whatever, training, Windows internals. And that's for 30 days. And if you need plural site codes, I do that as well. But I'll be happy to share those out. Now I'm 2 minutes over, which means that please evaluate this. Getting out of my breath. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of the Ignite.